off the presses, have y'all seen the new initiative for HBCUs that was just issued by the White House? So it now appears that the White House is going to give over $300 million in funding and Pell Grant assistance to HBCUs, $100 million in scholarships for HBCUs, and almost $250 million to 4 universities for hurricane relief of 2018. I need for us to pay attention. So on the one hand, we're ending diversity, equity, inclusion at all the other schools, but we're giving almost $500 million to HBCUs. We need to watch what's happening in real time. What do y'all think about this?
If judges can't declare what the law is, if they can't say that a president or a vice president or an unelected person or Congress, if they can't say what the law is and they can't stop them from taking an unconstitutional and illegal action, then what do we have? Right? We have unchecked power. Congress, if the president could do whatever he wants, then Congress becomes optional. It becomes marginal. Our rights become optional. States become optional. And all we're left is with a president who can do whatever the heck he wants. That's not America, right? That's not who we are as a country. That's what we're stopping here today. What we're talking about today, every middle schooler in America understands checks and balances. This is about checks and balances. This is a check. This is a check on executive power run amok. This is a check and a balance on a president who wants to do whatever the hell he wants. We cannot have that in America. And that's why we're here today.
Welcome to Let It Be Known News. I am your host, Stacey Brown. This is the morning show for Black Press USA.
Peace and love. I'm your Danielle, and we're going to jump into some headlines that are impacting the Black experience this morning. And of course, Donald Trump and his clan, his administration, whatever you want to call it, is impacting a lot of people.
Donald Trump and the clan, huh? You know, a couple things with that video we just saw. First one with the HBCUs. Believe it when you see it. Remember his first term, he got all the HBCU presidents to come to the White House, and it really turned out to be a photo op. I will not believe any of this. He's destroying, on the one hand, you're going to tell me he's going to give funding to HBCUs. First and foremost, the previous administration gave a record amount to HBCUs, funding, that is. But he's on the one hand destroying anything to do with diversity and Black history, which is American history, right? And right. Then you're gonna tell me that the very institutions that really help to preserve and produce more Black history, he's gonna support? I'm not buying that. That's the first part of that video. Now, before we get to the second part, I can let you go weigh in on the HBCUs as well.
No, I mean, I'm going to let you keep going. I'm going to let you
keep going
because I agree with what you said.
And the other thing, with everything that individual in the second video said, the one thing that resonates, and that I had a conversation yesterday with someone at within our organization, NMPA, Black Press, who said that they were talking to a certain congressperson or a former congressperson, and they were talking about how important the midterms are going to be. We got to gear up for 2026. Mm-hmm. That man in that video said, and he went over it, but it's the most important thing. He is rendering Congress like useless. This is the problem with sitting around. If you have this idea of sitting around the 2026, already all this this chaos, he has not one time used Congress. He has not relied on Congress, not one time, to push this chaos. He's been able to do it without Congress. So if you're waiting for 2026, you'll be in chains by then.
Right. No, I totally agree. I think that you could do two things at the same time. I think that you can start now with mobilization for the midterms, but also figure out what you can do now. Because if Trump has power, because a lot of us really think about this because it's like, what do you do in a hostile takeover? Just as Donald Trump has found his power, which a lot of presidents didn't exercise because they didn't even believe they could push it that far with that executive power. There's a reason why there are three branches of government.
Right.
There's a reason why. And Congress has to figure out how. They have to figure it out. I don't care if it's through mobilizing your constituents to do something. I don't know what it is that they need to figure out, but I think that Jasmine Crockett is onto something. I think that Cori Bush did a good thing and nobody followed suit. And so there are things that they could do. They just not doing it.
Yeah. Before we move on, let's get to do we have a pop quiz for this morning? What would that be? And there we go. What did President Rutherford B. Hayes agree to in 1877 that effectively ended Reconstruction? Ooh, that's a good question. Another great question. Now, I have to tell you, Neil, you're going to have to get our audience reaction. I can't see any comments this morning for some reason. I can't even see internal comments. Just if Greer send the messages or you're sending messages. So you're going to have to take over on that until I can prepare that for tomorrow's show. But great question. Great question. Wow. Got me thinking. Now I'm going to be anticipating eagerly the answer to that question. Again, we got to know our history, right? You told me yesterday I need to know my history.
So what do we have? So David Youngblood is saying good morning. Mike V said they are posed to lose a dozen seats in the House due to his executive orders, which would explain the urgency to disrupt the midterm. See, that's a good point. Not to go back, but that's a good point. There is something that they could do because that's why Donald Trump is pushing so hard before he gets to the midterms. So Congress needs to really figure some things out. I really think when they're on recess, a lot of people don't understand they're supposed to be back in their districts doing the work. I know Maxine Waters had a couple town halls this weekend out here. And so they need to be figuring it out with the people. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and they have to. Here's the thing too. Anytime, and we've seen it even this year under Trump's administration, we've seen some Democrats vote in favor of some of this craziness when it comes to certain policies. Where are the allies? We talked about this before. Hakeem and all of the rest, not just Hakeem, will tell you, oh, we have friends on the other side of the aisle, or we talk, we play golf together.
Right.
Well, wait, then you're not effective then. If you can't turn some of these guys and say, listen, this is for the good of everybody. If you join us on this particular issue, now you're not going to get them to join you on every issue, but they have to be alarmed as well. I keep seeing reports in places like Politico, Mediaite, and other places where they're quoting these anonymous Republicans who say that they need to figure out how to stop Trump.
Right.
Well, you have the power. If you're to believe these anonymous reports, even in the Washington Post, the New York Times, etc., then there are Republicans out there that want to stop this. I see Orange G's comment flash up there. Who believe the HBCU money when I see it. HBCUs have been underfunded on purpose. Trump is not some HBCU savior. 100%. That is exactly what I'm saying. But the point is, Neil, the overall point is the fact that it's got to be some humane Republicans on the other side of the aisle. Got to be somebody with a heart.
Or you know what? One of the 48 laws of power is to never play on people's emotions, play on their needs. So they need to play on their needs. And one thing about white folks is they like power and money. And so you start messing with their power and their money, or they feel like Donald Trump is going to compromise their livelihood, they will begin to turn on him. You can best believe that. That's what I'm saying. What they're not doing to figure it out. Donald Trump figured it out. They need to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Orangey also offers an answer to the trivia, the Black Pop trivia. We will see. He says that he made a deal with Confederates. They voted for him and he removed all federal troops from the South. That sounds very, very plausible. I see Dr. Joni Toole's comment, and David Youngblood says Republicans need to take the chance that they may lose their seats as a sacrifice for their democracy. We're going to talk more about democracy too, because there is a growing sense that this is no longer or becoming. Folks still believe that we still have a democracy and believe that it's eroding quickly. So we'll get into that. But first, here's the other thing: democracy, right? ICE is disappearing people. Folks are
for sure
going missing. Now, there is at least 2 reported Venezuelan immigrants who were detained by ICE and deported from the U.S. They completely disappeared. And now there's reports that there's at least 2 dozen others who have completely disappeared. They can't find them anywhere. What is going on?
It's tons of people by the Canadian border, by the Mexican border. They're just disappearing. And that's really scary, especially when you think about that Trump just argued with the Supreme Court that he had the right to deport even U.S. citizens, not just undocumented immigrants, but U.S. citizens. That is a very scary thing that we're doing. And him meeting with all of these private security and militia security firms, it's getting scary. It's like they're becoming the boogeyman.
Yeah, and you say that, I know, not jokingly either. It sounds
no, I'm not.
Funny, but I know. It's sad,
because
but true.
think about it, the way that they're doing some people, they are driving up in a van. Just in a van.
Yeah.
Put you in there. And nobody never knows.
Yeah. Wearing masks and like you said, in these panel vans, it's a kidnapping. It's unreal what's going on here in so-called the land of the free.
Right. My friend, dear friend Dominique DePrima, who does the morning show over at Tavis Smart Ali's KBLA, she had a one, and they were telling people that you should start carrying a stamped letter addressed to your attorney in case something happens to you, and just pass it to the first person you see and tell them to please mail this. So that somebody that I was like, we getting back to slavery. We carrying letters.
Yep.
We gotta start carrying letters.
The Freedom Papers. I just told my family and my kids to start carrying your passports. Because it's that real. And that's just where we are. Switching gears, in New York, the latest, the city's largest municipal union is breaking with its labor counterparts and rejecting Andrew Cuomo's bid for mayor. They are endorsing state-led city council speaker Adrian Adams. Adrian Adams represents District 37 in New York, and That's 150,000 New Yorkers, by the way. So they are getting behind her, and it's a huge departure from Andrew Cuomo because, he is generally the guy that the unions back, has been the guy the unions have backed, and in this case, several unions are backing him. But here, no, the city's largest municipal union says we're going with Adrian Adams.
That's really huge. I remember when we had former Congress member Jamal Bowman. This is the candidate he wanted to meet, and he said that he was looking at. So it seems like, she definitely is doing the work. She's doing the organizing and the groundwork. Which when I heard that headline, Stacey, it took me back to your question about Congress and its power, and another power in this country is unions. You know what I'm saying? And how are the resistance movement working with unions? You know what I mean, to mobilize on the issues that are impacting the members. Get them involved.
Well,
It's all about mobilization.
yeah. Nancy Wall said that they don't need Cuomo again, but the unions folded during the election, the presidential election. Trump has been anti-union, and yet they still they folded. They folded like cheap suits.
Which ones though?
Well,
I know SEIU didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, most of the major the auto unions, if you remember, they ordered. What happened was the leadership told them not to endorse. It was one of those Jeff Bezos things with the Washington Post, not to endorse. They didn't want to endorse Trump, but they didn't want to endorse the vice president, although her track record far exceeded that of Donald Trump when it comes to unions. We see his actions on union busting continue anyway. Here we go. Many unions ended up throwing their support right behind Trump. I remember that very well because
I know SC. Yeah. I was just gonna say I know SCIU didn't.
Yeah, well, it was, and again, it's one of the few who stood their ground. But for the most part,
Right.
unions, and they mentioned, of course, you would expect police and fire unions, but in this case, you kind of expected the police unions at worst to sit it out because look,
Right.
This guy was telling you with the January 6th situation that he was going to pardon those guys who attacked law enforcement. So very interesting how folks have capitulated to this guy. It really is. It's almost, it's so, it should be embarrassing for them, but alas, it's not. Also, as I mentioned a little while ago about the democracy, hundreds of scholars are saying that the United States is swiftly headed toward authoritarianism. They surveyed more than 500 political scientists. And so what they base this thing is the Bright Line Watch, which is, they go from 100 down to zero, I guess. So 100 is a perfect democracy. And after Trump's election in November, the scholars gave American democracy a rating of 67. Several weeks into the presidency, the figure dropped to 55. And you could imagine where it's at now, Neil.
Where?
It's, we're just not, we are so far, we're closer to a dictatorship than we are to a democracy. And we're getting closer and closer. And according to those scholars, we're getting closer and closer. It feels like, we pretty much got one.
For the most part, yeah. And I think on his birthday, it's really going to be obvious if he gets that military parade that he's wishing for. We're really going to see it, okay? Next thing you know, he's going to have everybody coming in the White House kissing the ring. I know they did they did a overview of how he's changed the Oval Office to make it more like gold things in the actual Oval Office. He's changed the drapes to gold. He's added gold trimming around, the whole room. He put more gold sculptures in there. And so, he's living up to what he wants, that dictatorship look and vibe.
Well, and we've seen constantly when he has had folks into the Oval Office, he's had his "Make America Great Again" hats displayed on the counter as if they were for sale. He's also had the meme coins, and he's now, in fact, the meme coins. He is offering folks a private dinner if they purchase his meme coins. This is all to see Biden sitting there.
See what I'm saying? Yeah.
This is all a situation where folks, we are watching in real time a serious robbery. We're watching a heist in real time every day, and everybody's sitting back saying, "Wow, what's going on?" He's doing this, he's doing that. It's a heist. It's grand theft.
Yeah. But it is, but I think as we prepare for our guests to come out, there's so much happening to where we can, figure out how we fit into the change that we want to see, with this whole hostile takeover. And if for anybody out there is watching right now, your Congress member is in your district right now. If you voted for that member, they're in the district right now. Find out where they're having their town hall meetings at. Find out what is going on so how you can make a difference. Because at this point, that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take.
Well, we, since day one, this is what we've been reporting that that this is a hostile takeover, and things need to be done. So many different things need to be done. So we will see as this country continues to plummet into just chaos.
Right. So while we're waiting for our guests, we can jump into some quickies if you want to.
Oh, okay. Our guest is not here. Okay, I did not know that our guest is
we'll
not
jump
yet
into
arrived,
some
but that's
quickies.
okay.
And lighten up the conversation, because there's so much more going on in Black America that we could celebrate, that we could talk about. Let's chat about some things. One thing that is the talk of the town this week is the matriarch of the Knowles family. I'm talking about Tina Knowles. Now, she dropped her book, her memoir, Matriarch, and she's been all over the town. She's been on Gayle King. Oprah did a sit down with her where she did some tea. Do we want to watch this, Greer? Well, okay. So
April 30th. Hi, I'm not usually the one going on tour in my family until now, but on April 30th, I am kicking off the tour for my book, Matriarch, in Washington, D.C., with none other than the most amazing woman, Mrs. Michelle Obama. How blessed am I? So I hope to see you there, D.C., April 30th.
I mean,
I got a question.
That's huge.
I got a question though. What makes how many kids she has?
2. And 2 bonus daughters. And a bonus son, as she says. Bonus sons.
Okay, so how many kids you need to have to be a matriarch? I don't think 2 kids cut it.
I mean, you are what you are in your family.
Okay. I'm just, it just seems kind of, generally when I think of matriarch, I'm thinking like there's this big family, and you're like the, you're the head, or at least the woman head.
She has She has Solange, Beyonce, Kelly, Angie, Beyonce. She has her bonus sons, Jay-Z. She has
That's a son-in-law.
Kelly's husband. Yeah, she calls those her son-in-laws. I mean, and like when you're the parent of, the pop superstar in the world, you are a matriarch. She created that.
That
beast.
makes you a matriarch because your child is a superstar.
I mean, it depends on her family. She has her is enormous. She is the mother of Beyonce, and if that's what she wants to be, she can.
Oh gosh, we give these celebrities too much.
Well, I think that she's definitely warranting the respect. She has moderating her. Look, Michelle
I'm not saying
Obama, when
she's
she's
not
in LA,
warranting her
Kiki
respect.
Palmer. She's in Houston on the 5th. She has Kelly Rowland. In Atlanta, she has Perry. In New Orleans, she has Tamara Hall. Toronto, she has CNN's Abby Phillips, Laura Coates in Chicago, and in Brooklyn, Gayle King, and then she ended in London. But I think that she does have a really interesting story to tell. She really does. She does. She on the Oprah podcast that she did, she was talking about her marriages, which I thought she was so sophisticated and not throwing neither husband under the bus. She talked about the difference in having a strong balance for Solange as well as Beyonce, so that they both felt loved, and that was important to her. So, I mean, I think she does have an interesting story to tell. And if folks can like Kardashian or Jenner, they damn sure can love Miss Tina Knowles.
I don't see. Right. I'm not saying about love or respect here because I don't know that.
Or matriarch. Yeah.
Right. I don't think people respect Kris Jenner like they do Tina Knowles. So.
Now, do you think Kris Jenner is a matriarch? Does she more resemble a matriarch because her tribe is bigger?
Well, I wouldn't call her a matriarch only because I can't give her that type of respect.
So you got a lot of reasons why.
I'm just telling you, I can't respect Kris Jenner.
Okay, well, let's bring in our guest before we get to the good stuff. Let's bring in our guest. She is the CEO and president of the National Council of Negro Women. Welcome, Reverend Shavon Bradley. Welcome to Let It Be Known.
Well, good morning. Hey, y'all. Having this serious conversation. You stressing me out about these.
Well, Reverend Bradley, are you a matriarch?
No, I have one fifth grader. Okay.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And I know Reverend Bradley deserves all the respect in the world and the honor in the world. She's not going around saying she's a matriarch. One child.
You know what? I am here for Black women being who they want to be. Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Okay.
Be it. Be
right.
it.
Yeah, it's part of the 92%.
Well,
okay.
Earned it, somebody. Earned it.
Yeah. That was a nice way to come into the conversation because we have some heavy stuff going on, Reverend Bradley. And the National Council of Negro Women has always been at the forefront of movement and of change. And so we want to start with just what is your assessment and what is the National Council of Negro Women doing under this hostile takeover of the Trump administration?
Well, first, let me say thank you for the opportunity to sit with both of you this morning. I will tell you, NCNW has historically, we're almost 90 years old, been at the forefront of social justice. We were founded by Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. And what I've done is taken a page out of her book and really redefined who NCNW is for Black women to advance in this moment. What I keep telling people all the time, they'll say our ancestors have been here before. And I tell them that our ancestors have seen racism before, but they have not seen foolishness in the White House that is anti-law before. Once the laws have changed in the past, they had to acquiesce to the laws changing. What we're seeing now is lawlessness. And so NCNW has activated the 3C strategy, a consumer strategy, a constituent strategy, and a commitment strategy. First and foremost, we are saying we're going to consume products that actually value their customers. So if you have core values that we have, we'll consume. If you don't, we won't. But we're also lining up our plans to support the Black women inside of corporations that are dealing with these rollbacks at this time. The constituent strategy is very, very important. We are committed to making sure that voters understand what's really happening. We're not having something called the recall. It is the big turmoil. We are using a newsletter to respond to every executive order so Black women can understand what this water hose is all about. So we're making sure voters are informed and then mobilizing on the ground so that we can vote out who we need to get out. And then the last thing is a commitment strategy. We're telling all of our supporters, support Black institutions, support Black businesses, and support Black families. We want to invest our dollars in spaces and places where we're valued and are supported through long-term advocacy, through education, and through progressing on economic development. So that has been our priorities, which we call our core four.
Wow. And you mentioned the Black institutions. We know that the Smithsonian's African American Museum of History and Culture is certainly on the fire lines, if you will.
Absolutely.
What, if any, action have you guys taking, or which is there any plans to try and take action here?
There absolutely are. So there's a few things happening. On May the 3rd, we're going to be activating across the country and in Washington, D.C. to bring as many supporters to the Smithsonian. Why? We want to actually give. If you're not a member of the Smithsonian, please become a member. Why? Because they receive federal dollars and private dollars. If federal dollars are removed, our listeners need to understand that starves an operation. So you need money to maintain the Smithsonian. The second thing that we're also doing is addressing issues with the National Park Service. People don't understand this, but the National Park Service is under the Department of Interior. Our own founder, Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, her house is a historical site. We are now concerned about them removing the National Council of Negro Women's founder's house in Washington, D.C. I actually work in the only Black and woman-owned building on Pennsylvania Avenue. We are a national landmark. I am literally in the throes of trying to protect history that is physically built in D.C. And why is that important? We actually are built on the land where slaves were sold.
Mm-hmm. And so just this week, Reverend Bradley, just this week, they removed the grants, the federal grants from the Whitney plantation.
Absolutely.
So we're seeing it happen in the real time.
It's consistent.
Right. You brought up one of the core fours, which is consumers, and we see that this Target boycott that went into a fast, and now we're going into a boycott. And Dr. Jamal Bryant and Tamika Mallory, Nina Turner, Nakima Levy, and the folks out of Minneapolis they're creating a committee. There's a lot going on. Where does the National Council of Negro Women fit in with the boycott that's underway?
So NCNW nationally has said we want to. That's why we focus on consumer strategy. It's not just Target for us. The Target Fast is one part of a larger strategy, right? We are actually a part of the faith community. I'm a minister as well. Jamal is a personal friend, and we actually are activating with Target to say, listen, if you do not align with the demands, you will not see consumer support. But I will tell you, there's a larger story happening in this Target boycott space. Target has a long list of areas that they're working on. There's some folk that we know, there are Black women that are actually in Target that are actually being helpful to try to figure out a way to accommodate the request. You see, what we're learning in the Target boycott moment is that activating people power moves corporations. Money matters, right? The bottom line matters. So NCNW, we're not a national boycott kind of organization, but what we do is direct our investment in dollars, and we highlight those that highlight us. So you'll notice in our way, we navigate and move people through certain strategies. And Jamal Bryant is someone who is a mastermind in ensuring that people have a place to go. And one of the things that I want people to hear too, with the Target Fast, that's so important. If you have money to invest or divest, you're seeing that your choices matter. Black consumers are $1.7 trillion spending community. We could be literally our own country. We're as big as Australia as a community. And what we're realizing that 52% of that 1.7 trillion is spent by Black women. And so when you know your buying power, I didn't have to fast. I could just it was no need. I'm going to support them, but I didn't have to fast. I had to refocus our dollars to the brands. So you'll see us highlight brands, my friends, of those corporations that have guided us. I got my Costco card. Hello.
You know, Jamal Bryant said, and he repeated it again. He's repeated it a number of times, and I had to look this up. Not that because I doubted him, but because it's so astounding. Black Americans spend $12 million a day at Target. A day.
You should understand that that's a real thing. I'm a mom of a 5th grader that had to get the snacks for the boys for the basketball. The Target run is a Black woman's lifesaver. I had a chance to say to them directly, you know, you are my target. Because I you know, when you have those experiences, Target has been in communities where Black people have resided, and that has been a part of their strategy. That's why they're actually improved. And by the way, in 2020, they were the leader in identifying the most appropriate ESG and diversity, equity, inclusion values. They were. And I think that this is opening up their minds. They have to start rethinking their messaging and strategy. So hopefully they'll be able to make some changes.
Right.
It seems like
to your point.
Oh, I'm sorry, Neil. Go ahead.
I was saying, to your point, Reverend Bradley, Target was the leader. And as we learned this week, it's just the headquarters is 3 miles away from where George Floyd was murdered. And a lot of local things that Target has done with the district attorney's office that we learned. So it's a more intentional strike than just, randomly picking somebody. But I also appreciate how the conversation we're having it's refreshing for me because, Stacey and I always talk, can we really do? But having this conversation and we're talking about the boycott, we're talking about the core 4 that you're having and that you are, intentionally doing with Black women. And then I see that you're in with the State of the People tour that kicks off this weekend. We are doing something and we are mobilizing, but we're just doing it our way. So let's talk about the State of the People tour.
I want to talk about that because I think I'm an institutionalist by heart. I'm a faith girl. I'm a sorority girl. I believe in Black institutions. That's not everybody's bag, right? Everybody does not like to align with an institution. What I tell people all the time, wherever you align, don't you know that's an institution? So folks that are anti-institution that gather around and start planning and strategizing, you're an institutionalist too. So what I say is that because Black people commune and fellowship around an issue, we create institutions wherever we go. NCNW specifically is aligning with the State of the People because NCNW is an organization. You don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to be the divine nine. If you're a Black woman, you woke up this morning, come on over. Come on, find a place for you to be able to find your place of service. We do direct service and direct action. The State of the People is doing exactly that. Direct service, programming, opportunities for feeding and making sure that federal workers understand what's happening, but also direct action. You've got to know your assignment. I happen to be a little bit of both. Our organization actually does 2 things. We either serve people or we address systems that cause the people to have to be served. That is our role as an organization. And the State of the People is happening across the country. You're going to see workshops, information about jobs. Why? Because Black people have needs right now. And it is our job as a collective. Shout out to Angela. That's my girl, Angela Rye. All the folks that have been engaging. You'll see Sister Melanie Campbell, Lord Leah Daughtry, all of Derek Johnson, these leaders that are coming together, celebrities, faith leaders, institutions. This is a coordinated Black space, intentional around how do we do something for ourselves.
And Reverend Bradley, how does the Black press fit into all of this?
Come on. I hope you saw. I had a clip that came out there. I got a call about it, but I said it publicly, and I said what I said with my chest too. I said the Black press is our Underground Railroad. This is our moment. The Black press is the space and place where Black messaging is unfiltered, where the realities of the Black experience from all sides of it, right? We're not a monolith. We don't like all the same things. Quiet as it's kept. We don't all look alike. Hello, somebody. But the Black press is the place that gives entree into what should we be doing. This is a partner. This is someone you can trust. If the Black press is not activated, not invested in, we lose our Underground Railroad, period, point blank. I said what I said because I know it to be true. The Black press is the one place that Black stories are told from nuts and bolts. And we are literally trying to activate more investments in the Black press because the more we tell our story with Black press, the more that sponsors have to support the Black press. And that's where I know I need to lend my hand. And I'm 100% behind that.
Well, love to hear it. Love to hear it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, our producer just said the best endorsement ever.
Yep. And it's, you know, it's I'm not in the room when these things are taking place. These discussions, like you mentioned, all the heavyweights, the Leah Daughtry's, the Jamal Bryant's, et cetera, yourself. It is certainly our hope that we are in those discussions the way you, at least in some ways, the way you just articulated it better than anybody I've heard articulated too. So certainly hope that's our hope. But it seems to me that, and you said, you know, you mentioned how, you know, Target has to figure this out. It seems to me it's an easy fix. Seems to me, number one, you made these promises, right? You know, don't write a check that you're behind, can't cash. That's number one. You made these promises. Yes, the president is putting pressure on you with this DE&I thing, but you are separate from an executive order. An executive order does not and should not scare Target or any corporation.
You know what, Stacey? I used to say that too until I started getting into it. What I'm learning from a lot of the corporations is, quite frankly, they are trying to redirect language and redirect content so that they're not caught on a dime. And I will tell you, there are more companies out there that are like, no, you know, we with you. Just help me say it differently. Right? I mean, and for me, that's Underground Railroad work. I don't have a problem with that. And for some, they're trying to, because part of this is the legal fees. That it's not that the administration will sue them. Others that are backed by the administration will sue them. Yeah. And you get caught up in legal fees, and that becomes millions of dollars that could be going into the Black community. So I'm like, all right, you can't say the words. Let me see you do the work and find new words and do the same work. Because what I don't want to do is miss out on the resources because I got caught up on the semantics. Diversity, equity, inclusion is not a bad word, but it's been politicized. Like, I'm a Black Baptist girl. Evangelical wasn't a bad word before the political skew was there. I told Black people all the time, you know, you're evangelical, right? By way of your Baptist polity. It's the same thing, but they co-opt and made it something different. It's the same thing with diversity, equity, inclusion. Weaponizing words is a dangerous precedent. And it's been set, and now people are afraid. But you need folks to come in and tell them, no. Forget the word. Put the money where your mouth is. Put the money in the work. Show that there's opportunity for everybody. But don't forget Black people. Because I promise you, if you do, we're going to forget you.
Yeah, there it is.
Right. When you say the words, they did the same thing with critical race theory.
They did the same thing.
It had nothing to do with elementary school.
Yes.
Yeah. Look at where we are. Right.
They're lying. For the people in the back, they're lying.
We want to thank you. We want to thank you so much for joining us today, and would love to have you back to keep us up to date with what's happening. We need this type of information for sure.
Listen, I am so grateful. Look, follow us at NCNW_HQ. We are on Instagram, we on LinkedIn, we on Facebook, we on Threads, NCNW.org. If you're not a member, join us. And brothers, you too. We have associates. Support us. We are about to activate for our 90th anniversary. We want to keep our building, the only Black and woman-owned building. Keep us going. We love y'all. Thank y'all so much for this.
Thank you.
Yes.
That is awesome. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, that is amazing. One of my favorite organizations. I just want to shout out Barbara Perkins out of Atlanta for introducing me to NCNW. Just a wonderful organization. Let's jump into some quickies. Stacy, let's finish this up since we're talking about Black women and Black excellence. Taraji P. Henson has been confirmed to deliver the keynote address at the 138th commencement ceremony at Spelman College. And so the graduates are set to walk the stage on May 18th.
So I'm over right above American University right now. And you know who's the commencement speaker for American University? None other than Coleman Domingo. And I like that name. I said it before. I love that name. This guy is obviously a really good actor, but I like the name Coleman Domingo. So I had to throw that out there.
He's talking the other day that he got Ann Winter's approval for his Met Gala outfit. You know, he's one of the ambassadors for this year's Met Gala. And so he showed Ann Winter his outfit. She asked to see it. And he said he was nervous and he sent it to her. And she said, work of art. So he's excited.
But I didn't mean to take away the shine from Taraji. But congratulations to Taraji. That's going to be great. Spelman.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be rolling out commencement speeches. It's going to be exciting to see what college picks who to address the graduates, because they're coming into a world with high student loan debt. You know, they want it now, folks. They want it now. So they need some encouragement and upliftment. So we'll keep those coming out. But speaking of Coleman Domingo, acting Taraji P. Henson, the Oscars. Now, this is a funny one, Stacy. The Oscars have finally changed their rules. Now, check this out. They now require voters to watch all nominated films before voting in the final round.
What did they do before?
If you wasn't watching the movie, that means that you voted on what you saw in the trades, what you saw in shows, who asked you out to lunch, who lobbied for your vote. It wasn't about the body of work. That's what that's telling us.
Oh my gosh. That, you know, we need, there's some things, and I know a lot of people disagree with this, but there are some things that Black folks need to just leave alone, like the Oscars. I've been saying that forever. Oscars, let them have it. We don't need them. Don't need them. That's just preposterous. So these voters, the Academy, they're not watching the movies. Like you said, they're just being schmoozed by someone, and you know, maybe who knows what else. Maybe a few dollars under the table.
Right.
I don't know.
You could be lobbied for your vote. If I get a list of all the voters, you know, and here in LA and in Hollywood, you know, when it's award season time, you could drive down the street and all you see is projects that say for your consideration, you know, and then there's the movie poster for your consideration, the movie poster, the TV show. So it's not even about the body of work. It's about the popularity of the movie and who puts out the most money to acquire the vote. That's what that headline says.
It is absolutely pathetic. I said it, like I said, I'll say it for the 200th time. Black people should leave the Oscars alone. They don't need that type of, they don't need those acceptance on that side. Do our own, the Black Oscars.
So what would be considered the Black Oscars, the NAACP awards?
So at the risk of sounding like I'm going to criticize the NAACP Image Awards, no, because that's a popularity contest too. I don't think a lot of it is not on merit. Some of it is, a lot of it is not. It's who's hot, who's not. I'm not down with that. I mean, I support the NAACP awards in the sense that, you know, it's a Black event and that's about it. But I don't put much credence in who wins and who loses.
So what else do we have? The Trumpet Awards?
What I'm saying is create something. I mean,
you want something totally new.
Totally, yeah. For me, it has
trying
to be
to
something
see what
totally
we have.
new.
Okay, create something totally new.
Totally new.
I'm trying to see what the chat is saying. Orange G, are you still talking about Freaknik? We are not talking about 94 Freaknik. What?
Well, you know, she's about to jump in on
Chat.
him.
And then last but not least, you know, Michael Jordan cannot believe that wasn't always required. These awards are less and less meaningful.
Yes, Dr. Jody.
Jody. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Last but not least, Michael Jordan has opened up his 4th medical clinic in North Carolina. And he's doing this to hope to leave a lasting legacy. And he's servicing underserved communities and uninsured families. And so I just think it's great how he's opening up these clinics for his communities and underserved communities. And these are things that you're not going to find in the news. These types of headlines, just uplifting and see what's happening in our nation. We are still taking care of the village, y'all.
Well, it's great to see Michael Jordan doing that. You know, I have never been a big fan of Michael Jordan, but I really like what he's done down in his home home area, home state, North Carolina, with those free clinics for underserved and uninsured. That is a big, big thing. So when you're talking about folks doing the work and being, you know, like you said, Neil, not getting the headlines for it, I would imagine Michael Jordan could care less about the headlines, but kudos, big up to Michael Jordan. That is, you know, hopefully other athletes and entrepreneurs in the Black community will learn from Michael Jordan on that.
Right. Yeah. And I've been so refreshed this morning. I'm just going to say it because, you know, we always talk about what Donald Trump is doing. But I think, you know, part of the good feeling about this show is that we're talking to the movement. And it's always better to be a part of a movement than to just be stagnant and sitting still. And so I just feel so encouraged by, you know, what the NCNW is doing and the state of the people is coming, you know, and our role in place to, you know, put all this information out there. So thank you, let it be known, family. I feel encouraged this morning. I do.
All righty then. So we again our Black Pop quiz. Do we have a little tease or something coming? Or we just teaser. Which shady handshake in 1877 turned the lights off on Black progress? Oh boy. Shady.
Which shady handshake?
Yeah.
Well, we know the ones for 2025 would be Byron Donalds and Tim Scott. They got a lot of shady handshakes going on.
Oh my gosh, shady. All right, so we're gonna take somebody's black card now, right?
Right.
So that individual is none other than Marcus Morris. Yes, you may have seen the video by now. He's a longtime NBA veteran who was on ESPN with Stephen A. Smith and Chiny. Is that how you say her name? Chiny Agwamiki. And he decided, in describing the Memphis Grizzlies basketball team and how they were playing, he described them as YNs, or, you know, young N-words. And Stephen A. Now, I saw it. If I'm saying her name wrong, I apologize to her.
That clip is hilarious.
Yeah, you know, her eyes was like, but no one said it.
Like, no, he didn't.
Right.
She looked like,
but
no,
Stephen A.
he
Smith,
didn't.
of course, you know, Tom there went along with it. Of course, he didn't have any problems with it. He didn't appear to have any problems with it. But you know, the folks in the chat on social media, I should say, they were right on this one. They were right, spot on, because had this been a white person using that term YN, boy, oh boy, could you imagine the reaction? And the reaction should be it should be the same, because this was uncalled for. It was just so ridiculous ridiculous on national television. This black dude, basketball player, uses that term YN to describe other black athletes. Just horrendous. So no, Marcus, no cookout for you. Look at it. Tell me he
No, you
didn't
can't.
just say
No,
that.
no. And all of these people that are losing their black cards, we're talking about this year's Juneteenth cookout. They are not
That's right.
allowed. Okay?
Nope.
Can't come.
You smell the aroma from the hot dogs and the hamburgers and the steaks and the chickens that are on the grill from afar, because you're not coming near the park. So that's it. You're done, Marcus Morris. Black card is officially revoked.
Deuces.
We're going to go on to some black facts. And I'll start it off, Liel, with on this date in 1867, the first national meeting of the Ku Klux Klan was held at the Maxwell House in Nashville, Tennessee. The Klan will remain the nation's most powerful anti-black terrorist organization for the next 70 years. It's amazing. And why is that a black fact? Because it's amazing the obstacles that we have and continue to face. And folks want to argue against reparations.
That was a bad black fact.
Yeah, I know. It was one of those things
what?
where it's a black fact.
To counter your KKK on this date in 1944.
That's right.
United Negro College Fund was founded. Okay,
There you go.
Now, you know, the UNCF is one of the most important philanthropic organizations in the country, and it provides scholarships for Black students to attend HBCUs. And the motto is, and forever, a mom is a terrible thing to waste.
You know, it's that motto. Everybody should know that motto, right? Because it's been around for a long time and it's stuck. It really stuck. I say it a lot when folks just say stuff and it just appears that they're just making no sense. I always look at that person and say, "A mind is a terrible thing to waste." Oh man, but that is great.
Yeah. Orange G says he celebrates. Orange G says he celebrates Juneteenth all June. I'm with that, all like June. A birthday. You know, people celebrate their birthdays all month. We celebrate. I'm telling you right now, though, I'm bracing myself because I know that Trump clan is going to have something to say about Juneteenth. I am bracing myself, okay? Brace yourself, Orange G.
You can best believe that, yeah, you can best believe something's coming.
We're going to brace ourselves. Like... We know it's coming.
Oh, gosh. Well,
I don't see any hints. I'm looking for hints real quick about our trivia. We gave David Youngblood. We put the question out there. I don't see any answers. That's a tough one, Greer.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
That's a tough one.
Okay, there it is. The answer, the Compromise of 1877.
Thank you.
Wow. Did we have any correct answers in the chat?
No, not one. I don't even think nobody tried to answer. It was too hard.
So she stumped everybody this morning. Wow, that's not fair. Somebody should have known the answer. All right, so
no,
he pulled the federal troops in the South.
Said y'all love the liberals' porch. What does that mean? Okay, we can go ahead.
All right, I don't know, but nonetheless, the Black-owned newspaper of the day is the Inner City News in Connecticut. Inner City Newspaper Group is a local publication based in New Haven, The paper focuses on delivering news and information to the community, and they have been doing it unapologetically Black. The Inner City News. Go to Inner City News website and check out the latest there from New Haven, Connecticut.
All right. All right. So be sure to check out the local newspaper, Black-owned newspaper in your community. But to find out what's happening across the nation in Black America, you can always visit blackpressusa.com. And Greer, you want to put that back up? Because we want you guys to set your calendars.
Yes.
Mark your calendars.
That there is Dawn, our very own Dawn Montgomery. You know, Dawn is one of the hardest working women around and hardest working people around. And she has a new podcast called To Be Clear. It's it's coming out next month. She has a partner there at OK Player, and she's going to be doing Dawn Montgomery things. So
some podcasts.
Love to see it.
And and she's a culture critic, so she's gonna be bringing you the best of Black culture and headlines. And of course, we're gonna have her on to give us more information as we continue to help her build up the launch.
Yeah, she is. She's amazing, and I'm very, very happy. We all are very, very happy for Dawn.
To be clear,
she's been working on this for some time. Remember, she teased that she was working on something big, and here it is. You know, she don't even have to tease things because you know she's gonna come out with something eventually. It's like waiting for Beyonce to drop an album. She's coming out with something big. So here we go.
But I love that she's working with the motherland. You know, I just feel like the motherland is saying, cousin, come home.
Oh gosh, come on home. Well, speaking of coming home, it's time.
Well, all right, I think it's time.
It's time for us to retreat until tomorrow. So thanks for watching. We appreciate you guys. See you tomorrow.